Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second iteration of the Other Art Fair Global Virtual Editions. My name is Bethany, and I'm a curator with Saatchi Art, the presenting partner of the Other Art Fair. I'm so glad to participate in this series today, introducing viewers to some of the artists exhibiting at the fair. We'll be hearing from my colleagues, Erin and Megan, on must-see pop art and large-scale abstracts available in this virtual fair. And today I'm proud to present 3 figurative painters exhibiting in our virtual fair. Figuration has been a point of interest for our curatorial team as of late, particularly after the events of the past few years have seen artists searching for ways to articulate their lived experiences and myriad stories on the canvas from a number of viewpoints. The human figure contains so much potential for artists, and the 3 artists that I'm highlighting today, address the figure in distinct and striking ways. So definitely remember to take your time after this talk to explore the exhibition on your own, where you can find hundreds of artists around the world and view their curated booths. We have a number of virtual venues set up that you can toggle through. So definitely do that after the talk. So the first artist that I'm introducing today is, Rocio Navarro. Rocio Navarro has been a top-selling artist on Saatchi Art this year. She was honored as a 2020 Saatchi Art Rising Star and has recently been a featured artist in our catalog, and we're glad to have her back for the virtual fair. Rocio is a Mexican artist living and working in France, and her work primarily focuses on depictions of women. She has stated that through the female form, she can observe and process stages of her own life on the canvas. She draws on the visual culture, art, and folk art of her native Mexico. And in her figures' monumentality, these are very large canvases. I believe these are about 70 inches high. In their monumentality and in their resolve, she often recalls artists of the Mexican mural movement, most notably Diego Rivera, you might recall. And I think these stylistic tendencies are exemplified in these 2 works, which you can see on display in the virtual fair, in their scale, in their positioning of the figures, and in their focus on the natural environment and ritualistic dance. She's also exploring what it's like to be alive today, and the complex feelings that come from her experiences as a woman and as a Latina. She fuses these subtle displays of emotion from melancholy to skepticism to resolution with vivid colors to make her figures clear and, as she puts it, honest. She also explores plants, houseplants, and visual markers of contemporary life in her works, making these figures relatable to our own everyday lives. Rocio received her BFA in graphic design animation from Tec Milenio University in Monterrey, Mexico, and she has exhibited her work in Mexico and in France, where she now resides. Our next artist is Mandy Racine, an artist we've worked with for many years, based in northern Spain. Mandy draws heavily on art history, and she considers herself an abstract expressionist inspired by the old masters. Her primary interest in painting is to capture movement, which she does in a markedly unique and immediately recognizable way when you see her works. Her work essentially reinvents classical paintings, some of which you might recognize, such as the figure of Venus over here on the left. This painting on the left is inspired by Anthony van Dyck's painting of Venus at the Forge of Vulcan, a Baroque painting remarkable for its dramatic shifts between dark and light, and of course the dramatic composition formed between the interactions of the figures. So Mandy distills this classical scene into loose gestures that capture the atmosphere of the original painting, with a contemporary twist that almost verges on complete abstraction. And her take on Barocci's 16th century Assumption of the Virgin here on the right is even more abstract, with faces and limbs reduced to just single brushstrokes. And her approach here, I think, even recalls another artist from art history, Willem de Kooning, in his abstract expressionist distillations of the human figure. Additionally, anyone familiar with Renaissance and Baroque Assumption scenes will likely recognize this scene in this work, even without seeing the title, or even without any recognizable faces or figures. I think that this is by the distinct registers into which the composition is organized and the upward movement within the painting towards this gold passage, which would symbolize the heavens. So to achieve these signature effects in her work, Mandy works in acrylic, allowing paint to drip down the canvas and create juxtapositions between light and dark passages. And she finishes each work with charcoal and very rapid gestural pastel mark making, which punctuates the work with a very modern approach, and I think gives them a lot of life. So Mandy has exhibited her work widely in the UK and in Europe, and her work is held in collections around the globe. So our final artist that I would like to introduce today is Mandy Racine. She is a painter based in Chicago, Illinois, and a winner of the Other Art Fair's New Futures Prize, a prize recognizing talented young artists and assisting them with the resources to participate in the Other Art Fair and to help them grow their careers. So Tiana paints her friends and the people around her, and she seeks to tell these people's personal stories and family history in her work. In her recent series called Requesting Permission, she begins her process by having her subjects give written responses to questions about their childhood memories, where their family's from, and their family traditions. And then the works that Tiana makes, they then take shape based on these responses. So in doing this, Tiana seeks to reimagine portraiture into these dreamlike spaces that connect these subjects, these contemporary subjects, with their ancestry. And once you delve into the symbolism that's lurking within each piece, there's the stories behind each figure can become quite moving and overwhelming. For instance, in this work on the right here, called Just Trying to Earn a Living, Tiana paints Isa, a Chicago drag queen whose mother was an exotic dancer. And if you look closely, you can see a shadow in the background meant to depict Isa's mother. And the shadow is meant to simultaneously suggest the admiration and the harm that marked their relationship. Isa's mother passed away recently after struggles with substance abuse. And this painting seeks to capture Isa grappling with her family history and trauma, while also honoring how she remembers this woman as a strong sex worker and a colorful, confident, exotic dancer who continues to influence Isa today. And there's even more symbolism in this work called A Feminist Before Her Time. Here, the model, Laura Sophia, shared the story of her grandmother, who began selling cigarettes as a form of income to support their family in Colombia. And for her grandmother, it turned into a successful enough business venture so that she could start loaning out money to others in her community. And this was before banks were even readily accessible in her community. So Tiana included this cigarette tin as an homage to Laura Sophia's grandmother. And of course, the strength, resolve, and no doubt personality that would have characterized Laura Sophia's grandmother is also present in the way that Tiana depicts Laura Sophia herself here. And in this last painting, called In Her Softball Uniform, Tiana honors the model's mother, who has beaten breast cancer twice, with these two small breast cancer ribbons that are pinned to this blue chair in the upper right corner. It's a very small detail, but I love the small details that you can catch in Tiana's paintings. She also harkens back to the model Cariana's favorite childhood memory of her grandfather, with this blue truck that's on the shelf, the bookshelf in the background, and a green toolbox, which is a family heirloom that's passed down within the men in her family. And I think that especially in this painting, you get the sense that Chiana is in a dialogue with this subject. You can imagine sitting back and listening to her share family stories about how her grandparents met, which actually gave birth to the title in her softball uniform. And they're such intimate paintings that also have monumentality to them in their scale as well. So yeah, I would say that Chiana's paintings are quite all-encompassing. She even asks her subjects if there are any scents and smells that they associate with their elders. And she also seeks to capture their essence and personality, leading to a conscientious and, again, very dreamlike use of color that imbues the entire surrounding space of an image with her subject's energy. So with all of their symbolism, they're very thoughtful and moving works that to me recall the rich symbolism used by the old masters, but of course with a very feminist and individualist mission today. Chiana is a self-taught painter who received a BA in art history from the University of Missouri. And she is exhibited with the Other Art Fair in Chicago, where she's based. And we're very honored to have her return to our global event as part of the New Futures Prize. So that concludes my talk on these figurative painters that you don't want to miss. And again, be sure to explore the rest of the fair ongoing through November 28th to discover more emerging artists. Thank you.